Welcome, everyone, as we take some time to let everybody get settled and get audio connected. You'll notice on the screen share event we mentioned last week, we're very excited about. You got the QR code there to register for this one-day retreat on Sunday, January 4th with Lama Surya and Lama Roger Walsh. The art and practice of cultivating presence. Always a lot of interest in these right after the New Year retreats. It's a great time for it. I'll hop on there. I'll pop a link into the chat here after a bit, just in case this code isn't working or folks come in a little bit later. But we're very excited about this one-day retreat coming up here in not too long, a couple months away now. There is the link in the chat as well. I'm going to stop sharing. So if you missed the QR code or it's not working for you, check out that link and I'll paste it again as we move forward here, just in case you didn't get it in time. But welcome, everybody. Excited to see everybody this Sunday. I've been getting a hard time for suddenly being a Dodgers fan. Dodgers won the World Series, but the Royals are my main team, but I grew up very much a Dodgers fan. And actually one of my friends like, you're such a bandwagon fan. I'm like, I am, but I was a bandwagon fan in 1988 when the Dodgers won that World Series. That's what got me on the Dodgers bandwagon. And then any of you that know, you had to wait a little while for another one of those. The Royals won in 85 and then waited till 2015, and the Dodgers won in 88 and waited till 2020. So patience, I guess, is the practice that I'm getting there. So excited to have everybody here. And last week we had Lama Roger join, which was awesome, and excited that Lama Roger is going to be joining Lama Surya for that one-day retreat in January. I've been thinking about the Lama Roger session, and some folks had commented live, and I heard from folks after. Lama Roger went through quite a few practices, and a lot of those resonated with folks, and some folks even wondering about like some sort of list or aggregation of those. And so I went back through his session and just tried to kind of mark down what I could identify as kind of distinct little mini practices within the one practice. And there's about 9 of them. And so wanted to hit on some of those with maybe just a little labeling and background. One of the main things that I took away from his session is it's the actual practicing that is so critical and so important for this time, less so maybe the sort of talk or anything I would have to say. This is an opportunity for us to actually do these things. But very much in the spirit of what Lama Roger went through, I might first steal from Lama Surya before I then steal from Lama Roger, which is Lama Surya likes to say that in the Dzogchen meditation, there are 3 parts, and it's very complicated, so you probably want to write it down: the beginning, the middle, and the end. There are those kind of preliminary practices, the warm-up, the beginning part. And I might add that if you read any of the Dzogchen literature, the masters are all very emphatic that preliminary should not be confused with beginner, or maybe like overly simple or watered down, that these preliminary practices are kind of complete in their own right. And so it's not like, let me just get through the stretching so I can get to the real thing. By my count, about 6 of Lama Roger's practices are kind of these preliminary variety. And so I'll talk about some of those. In the middle part's kind of the main practice, and I think he had one of those. And then the end, we dedicate the merits of the practice. We go out, we close, we reflect. Any of you looking around have been at this a while. Some are a little more new to this, but those looking for ways to kind of build on what Lama Roger laid out, I would just highlight there is kind of this concept of some sort of warm-up preliminary, a main practice, and then the close. And can warm up many different ways. Often I start off ringing a bell, saying a prayer. These are ways to set the intention to get us in the mindset of we're taking a break from our regular routines, and this is kind of marking this time as time that we've set aside to practice. So let's ring a bell and we'll take it from there. I'll offer a little maybe narration on some of these practices just for those of you looking to track. But here we go. Let's see what happens. May all beings possess happiness and the inner causes of happiness. May all beings be free from suffering and the inner causes of suffering. May all beings remain undivided from the sacred joy which is free from suffering. May all beings come to rest in great peace and equanimity beyond attachment and aversion to friends, enemies, or strangers. So as we continue on, let's say, the beginning, the warm-up, one thing is just to take some time to arrive and settle. Take some time for some intention setting, intention remembering, kind of cultivating the right mindset, cultivating some good intention, good karma. So you might start off, if you want, joining me in a gratitude practice, just bringing to mind something that you're grateful for, someone, something, just allowing it to come up. And then when it does come up, just taking time to really feel into that experience, allowing that feeling in fully, heart opening, cultivating warmth, joy. Letting go of any barriers or defenses we may have up. And then on the intent front, you might check in and just sort of ask what your deepest aspiration is. What do you aspire to, maybe for this practice, for this day in general? What would be most deeply satisfying to you? No right or wrong answer to whatever comes up, but maybe just checking to see if it isn't the case that whatever comes to mind is also something you wish for all, for everyone, for all beings, known and unknown, seen and unseen. Just checking to see if that isn't the case. And sometimes help remind us of this aspiration, not just a practice for our own benefit, but for the benefit of all. And at least for me, it's kind of a reminder that that actually is kind of a natural intention, a natural wish. The inner attorney in me says, you're mostly just practicing for yourself, right? This is mostly a self-focused effort on some level, yet also taking this time to remind us, like, yeah, there is an aspect and a part of me that wants whatever I want for myself for all. Wishes that were the case. Then you may want to join me in invoking the lineage, which could mean the Dzogchen lineage. It could mean your own personal lineage of teachers, helpers, those that have supported you, those that continue to support you. masters past and present. Just feeling connected, supported, taking time to really feel into that. Certainly at the town hall, then you think of Lama Surya, my great gratitude for him bringing this lineage to the West, for writing books that probably brought many of us here or brought us onto a certain path, and all of Lama Surya's teachers, all of their teachers, stretches back thousands of years if you keep just kind of tracing it up, and all those that supported them along their path. Just feeling connected and supported to that. Like that sometimes think of my own personal lineage, parents, grandparents, on back, everyone that's supported me on my own path. And then one practice that Lama Raja ran through that I heard from multiple folks on, it's a visualization. If you are maybe more familiar with some of the kind of traditional Dzogchen texts, is kind of like an essentialized guru yoga. The visualization that Lama Raja leads, I find very helpful personally. So I'm going to copy it more or less as closely as I can, rather than risk putting my own spin too much on it. But it starts off by just thinking of some quality that we would like to have that would support us today or beyond. Some attribute, some quality. And then to think of someone or some archetype, can be, again, a real person, living, historical, known, unknown, a deity, maybe like a Tara, something like that. Whatever for you that comes to mind as some entity, some archetype that embodies that quality that you wish to have. And then literally visualize that being in front of you. I asked once upon a time in a retreat on this instruction if that means a literal visualization or if it's, more like call to mind. And I believe Lama Raja's answer to me was seeing is believing. If you're game, literal visualization, bringing to mind, picturing, seeing clearly this entity in front of you, and then just making a simple ask. Transmit to me whatever this quality is that you want. Transmit, support, infuse. Just feel into that, open to receiving that. Seeing any changes maybe that brings about internally. And then imagining this archetype dissolving into light, melting into light. You can imagine that light moving above your head, then coming down into your head, into your spine, into your central channel, moving down through your body into your heart, at which point imagining it explode throughout the body, the body mind filling you with that quality. And just taking a moment to maybe rest in that, checking into whatever's going on in your experience, very present and aware. A couple of thoughts come to my mind as I go through this practice, which I really like. First of all, one is this practice is pretty simple and fairly quick and is available to us at any point. And so anytime we feel we might need some attribute or quality, this practice can come in handy. We don't have to wait for a formal sit down or a formal hour or for a Sunday town hall. It's always accessible. And maybe even on a more essential level, it kind of reminds me that this quality is always available, right? Even when it seems like we might lack a certain quality or some support, it's still accessible. It's more like we feel separate from that. It's kind of an imagined separateness. Now, if you want, you can join me in a little bit of a concentration practice where we're going to concentrate on the breath, just following the breath in, following the breath out, and then noticing the gap in between. So no need to breathe any particular way. Just simply noticing can help to focus on the physical sensations of the breath, maybe in the diaphragm, maybe at the nose, whatever works for you. Just following in and out. And that gap in between. Just using it as a way to calm, stabilize the mind, steady our awareness, give our awareness something to anchor to, having an object, at least for now. And just keep following the breath in and out and noticing that gap between. And while continuing to notice the breath coming in, the breath going out, the gap in between. Might make the intention just to catch any thoughts or any sort of mental phenomenon, thoughts, feelings, perceptions as they arise. Not to catch, to hold on to them, but just to recognize, just to see them right as they emerge, to see them as they come into our awareness. Lama Roger called this something like a dehypnotizing practice. We get hypnotized by all these phenomena, all these thoughts and feelings that arise. This is a chance to bring the arrival of these thoughts and feelings into awareness itself, just recognizing, again, not trying to block out thoughts or hold on or to analyze or to try to figure out at this stage, just seeing, recognizing. This can help maybe relax the our usual habitual grip on things of reactivity. Something arises, we react kind of in a habitual, automatic way. Just giving some space here. We recognize what arises without a need to react, recognizing we have that option available to us to either choose our reaction or to not react at all. And if we find ourselves getting carried away with thoughts, that's okay. Just simply bring attention back to the in breath, the out breath, the gap between. Start fresh anytime. And if you want, you can join me in picking an object to become really aware of, kind of like visual ones, but it doesn't have to be seeing. I'm just looking at an object in front of me, really seeing it. Or if it's a sound, really hearing it, just really tuning in, sharpening your focus, brightening your awareness. I'm really present. And then when you're ready, you can drop the object of awareness and just shift into a 360-degree awareness, a shift from focusing on objects and instead resting in awareness itself, sky gazing, eyes open or close, doesn't matter. Bright, clear, luminous, intense awareness, awakened awareness. Just resting in that. And if you'd like, join me in a drink break, stretch break, fresh start. Jeffrey with a good shake there. I like that shake. I'm stealing it. Shake it loose. Start fresh. So as we're easing back in here, maybe just a quick recap. Again, I'm borrowing heavily from Lama Rogers' session last week and really reacting to a lot of folks that had found a lot of benefit in the variety of practices and hitting some that are in the same vein. But the idea is to start off with these preliminaries where we set intentions and kind of ask for support and help, remembering the lineage, gratitude, so-called bodhicitta, this wish to practice not just for our benefit, but for the benefit of all, wishing all well, kind of reminding ourselves of that intention, concentration practices, concentration on the breath, looking at kind of catching thoughts as they arise. And then transitioning into an objectless awareness, an awareness that doesn't fixate anywhere, aware of awareness itself. Kind of the more of the so-called main practice is more the middle part. At least for me, I try to just be in my own practice sessions when I'm always love to do a group when I can, but when I'm doing a lone wolf practice by myself, I just try to check in about now, just kind of be realistic about whatever is maybe working for me or maybe needed in that moment. Sometimes a little heavier on concentration practices. My mind's a little overactive. Sometimes maybe a little heavier gratitude and cultivating loving kindness and compassion and equanimity if I'm maybe feeling a little more closed off, closed hearted, maybe a little more wrapped up in the cocoon of self or something to that effect. But also if I'm feeling sort of very aware and present and at ease, not feeling the need to cut in some practice, just simply resting in awareness, aware of awareness, letting it be, letting everything be. Pretty much whatever floats your boat, go for it. So at any point, if you're finding yourself distracted or dull or whatever, just start fresh. No problem. Break it up. Many small practices. Start fresh as many times as you want. Don't have to stick to any kind of sequence of these different practices or even stick to just these practices. Break it up, start fresh. Sometimes I'll go back, so to speak, to the breath, just noticing the breath coming in and out, noticing the gap in between. So even a few cycles of that can kind of reset, restart. And then when I'm ready again, just dropping the object for the awareness and just simply resting in awareness. Spacious, open, vividly present, awake, aware, attentive. Dynamic presence, just one moment after the next, one breath at a time, one moment at a time. Really experiencing directly whatever's here in this moment. And as we start to get near the end of our time here that we've set aside for this practice, one practice Lama Roger highlighted that I can't count the number of times that I've had to remember the value of this one, which is taking some time to reflect. So you might remember he ended by inviting us to reflect on any insights we have from our practice. What did you learn? What would you do different? Really treating every sitting as a chance to learn. Reflection, at least for me, has been so beneficial. And then I often don't do it. And then I hear Lama Roger say, and I'm like, I'm doing that every time again. And then until I don't. And while we're on the theme of reflecting, if you have any reflections you want to share or questions, feel free to pop those into the chat. You can either chat them directly to me or chat them to the whole group, whatever is more comfortable. But that brings us to the final part, the end of the practice, the dedication of merit, offering the fruits of our practice to one and all in whatever way we seem fit. So I'll ring a bell to close this off here and then do a couple chants and prayers and send us off praying, chanting, dedicating the good merits we've created here today. Gewa di nerdu dag zogpa chenpo drub journey drowa chi kyang malupa dei salago parsho. Through this virtue, may we swiftly realize and fully embody the natural great perfection and thereby bring all, without exception, to its complete realization. Through the merit of this, may the light of the Buddha's precious teaching remain for ages to come, the ground for every single kind of benefit and happiness. May all the supreme holders of the teachings who uphold its living truth accept to live for eons, and their lotus feet stand firm. And so may the sun of altruism and well-being, in all its blazing splendor, shine the brilliant light of the study and practice of Buddha Dharma throughout every corner of the universe. May all beings everywhere, with whom we are inseparably interconnected and who want and need the same as we do, may they be awakened, liberated, healed, fulfilled, safe, and free. May there be peace and harmony in this world and an end to war and violence, poverty and hunger, inequality and oppression, greed and cruelty, pandemics, famine, droughts, earthquakes, all kinds of natural disasters. May all be free from fear, harm, danger, anxiety, and insecurity. May we better prepare ourselves for the natural calamities that beset us all, and may we all together complete the spiritual journey. One beloved community, one circle, one family, all the way home. I bow to all of you. Thank you so much for your practice, for being here. Always enjoy it. Appreciate the kind words in the chat. I've got in the chat maybe one last time in case anybody was late arriving or didn't catch it. I'll put the link to register for the upcoming one-day retreat in January, which we're very excited about. And thank you so much for joining us. We'll be here same time, same place next week. So have a great weekend, everyone.